Looks like we're probably going to have the same bumper to bumper crowd here. But I was just watching something on YouTube prior to coming on here about the new drives that this guy was selling online, that they had 100 terabytes per drive.
Wow. Wow.
Amazing amount of storage. It was SSD. It wasn't the regular, it was SSD, the fast ones. But the only problem was it was $40,000 a drive. So
whoa.
it's like for home use. So
wow.
Yeah. Quite a lot. Well, so I'll just let you start up, I guess. Well, I got the YouTube already going, so.
Okay. You want me to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. This is the second of 3 classes about genealogy on the internet. Our first class was about Ancestry.com. Today's class will be about FamilySearch.org, and the third and last class will be about Fold3.com. And those are the 3 major sites on the internet for genealogy records. Ancestry definitely has a head start and the most information online. Family Search is catching up and putting more and more information online. And Fold3.com is, they specialize in military records. So, and there are other sites online that provide access to records such as newspapers, magazines, and things like that. But these are the 3 major ones. So today we're going to talk, as I said, we're going to talk about FamilySearch.org. FamilySearch.org is a website sponsored by the Mormon Church, and it's a free website. There are no fees, but you do have to sign up for a free account. So I'm going to go through most of the main features of their website today so that you can see what it looks like and see how most of the major features work. So let me go ahead and share that screen with you. And hopefully you're seeing this. Okay.
Yeah, first seeing the outside of it and everything looks good. So
it looks good. Okay, good. All right, good. All right. So when you first go to the Family Search website, this is the page that you will see. There's a lot of advertising. Well, there's some advertising on here for Family Search and some of the things that they provide. I'm just going to scroll down through the page and let you see what's on here. It's a nonprofit. It's free. And here's where you can sign up for a free account. I'm going to go through some of these menus up here at the top. Family Tree, Search Family Tree and Search are probably the 2 that you will use the most on Family Search. So I'll probably spend most of my time on these 2, but we'll briefly go through the other menus and talk about those also. So I already have an account on Family Search. So let me go ahead and sign in. Okay, so now I'm signed in, and when you sign in, here's the first page you see after you sign in is something like this. And this page is basically announcements from Family Search. Down the right-hand side of the screen here, you'll see they're asking for volunteers to help them index some of their records. Here are some of the people that I've looked at in my family tree or that other people have looked at that may be the same people on my family tree. And then over here you have, here are some recent photographs. And there are a lot of photographs on this website, a lot of family photographs. So make sure you look into that. So just some examples of people and what records I've looked at recently for those people. So that's the first page you see when you log in. So let's go ahead and talk about how to do a search, because I think that's what most people are probably interested in. In some ways, the family search screens are easier to look at than Ancestry.com. The family search screens are, I think, my opinion, they're laid out a little better. They're not as busy. There's not so much information crammed into the screen like you see on Ancestry. But let's go ahead and click on the search menu. You can search for records. You can search for images. You can actually search for photographs. You can search other people's family trees. You can search genealogies. The Family History Library in Salt Lake City, you can search their card catalog. You can search for books. And they also have a research wiki, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. But wiki, it's actually wiki. It's an Hawaiian word, which means hurry up. So I will talk about that in a few minutes. But let's go ahead. We're going to search on records. So I click on that. Here's a little announcement up here. So I'm going to get that out of the way so that we can see the whole screen here. Okay, so this is your initial search screen. And you see now we have a sub menu. These are all the selections that were under the family tree menu. So we can search on records, images, the family tree itself. And like I said before, we can search on these individually if we want to. So I decided we're going to search on records. So here's a search screen for historical records. You have some options here. You can research by location, and you see as I move the cursor around, it highlights geographical areas around the world. You can use this to narrow in on a particular geographic area, like if I want the United States only, if I want to search Canada only, if I want to search South America only, Europe, Africa, Asia. So you can narrow your search to particular geographic areas. I'm going to say United States, just in general. So now we are zeroed in on the United States of America. The search will not search anywhere else except within the United States of America. Now, if you don't, if you want to expand your search to like the entire world, let's go back a screen here. So let's go back to the beginning and pretend like I did not select the United States. So now when we search, we'll get everything from all over the world. So here's where we would put in the things that we want to search on. First and last name of the person we want to search on, the birthplace, if we know that information, the birth year, if we know that information, other information that we might know about this person, like their spouse, father, mother. Let's see what else here. So I'm going to go ahead and search for one of my ancestors. See, the spelling corrector wants to correct that because it's an odd name and it's an odd word too. There. So I'm going to look for one of my ancestors. That's all I'm going to put in for now. And we'll get all records for anyone named Adolphus Moore anywhere in the world, including the United States. But yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and the other thing I'm going to put in, let's put in his birthplace, which I do know as Princess Anne County. So I'm going to put in his name and where he was born because I do know that information. So I could fill in the other things if I have that information, but I recommend not that you do not put in a lot of search parameters at first. I recommend that you start with the fewest search parameters at first. And then if you need to, you can add more search parameters to try to narrow it down. If you do it that way, then if you put in the least number of search parameters, you will get more results back. And then if that's too much information, you can come back to the search screen, put in additional search parameters, and then that will narrow down the number of results you get back. But I recommend starting with very little. So let's hit the search button. Let's see what we get. Well, we got only one record for this person who happens to be my great-grandfather, who was born in Princess Anne County. Let's see, let me take a look at this. So this looks incorrect, actually. This looks incorrect. Because supposedly, Adolphus Moore supposedly is a child in the household of his parents here. Lists his parents here. And it says he was resident in 1962 in Princess Anne County. Well, I know that's incorrect because Adolphus Moore died in, I believe, 1899, and his parents were not Andrew and Lydia Moore. So something is going on here. Either I put in incorrect search parameters, or Family Search doesn't have the correct information. Let's get rid of Princess Anne County as a birthplace. Let's get rid of that. And then let's do our search again and see what we get. Here we go. Here we go. Now see, that's an example of what I was talking about, is putting in too many search parameters. You may not get the results you were looking for. See, I got that result, which was actually incorrect. And all I did was delete one search parameter, his birthplace, and now I get many more search results. So this is going to give you a list of names, events, and relationships to other people. You can see up here there are over 1 million results for people named Adolphus Moore. And this is from all historical records. So if you just go down, here's an Adolphus P. Moore in the 1940 census in Fauquier County, Virginia. Well, I know that's not my Adolphus Moore. Here's another one in the 1940 census in Alabama. Well, that's not him either. And if you go down, you see here's Mississippi, Indiana, and these are all from the 1940 census. So he would not have been in the 1940 census because he died in 1899. So this is an example of getting back too many results. So what we can do is we can narrow things down. You can search by collection type, you can search by birthplace, year, and all these other search parameters. Let's see. Let's see, what can we do here? Let's search only in census records. Okay, well, we basically got back the same thing. although now we're getting some dates before 1900. But none of them are in Virginia as we scroll down. So none of these are my great-grandfather. Here's a Virginia, but it's not my great-grandfather. All right, let's go to here's where you go to the next page, page 2. Let's see, I'm looking in this column for anything that says Virginia because I know that's where he was born and where he lived. And so far, and I'm also looking for Princess Anne County, and so far I'm not seeing that. So let's go to page 3. Come on, page 3. Oh, there we go. All right, we got Canada, Texas, South Carolina, Alabama, and on down. When we're still getting some dates before 1900, but he's still not showing up. No one in Princess Anne County, Virginia. Now, this is where things can get frustrating when you do a search, because you don't want to be going through multiple pages trying to find the person you're looking for. So here's where we need to go back to our search and try something different. We were looking at collection type, and we were looking at census and lists. What else can we look at here? Let's try death place. In other words, where he died, United States of America. Let's see what we get here. Here again are a list of names and events. These are all people named Adolphus Moore who have a death record somewhere in the family search records. And you see, I'm not getting anywhere with this search because it's not showing me the person that I want. So it's not showing me the person that I want. So let's put in, we can put in some marriage information you see here. We can put in some death information. So let's do that. We click on death, and it gives us a place to type in where he died and a year that he died. So I'm going to put in 1899 since I know that's when he died. Now let's redo our search and see what we get. Now we're getting better information. This Adolphus Moore is from Arkansas. That's not my great-grandfather. But this Adolphus Moore is my great-grandfather. And there's his birth date and his date of death and where he's buried. There's another record under here. This is also for my great-grandfather, birth and death date, where he was buried. And this tells you where the information comes from. It comes from a website called Billion Graves. This entry, the information comes from Find a Grave. You may be familiar with those two websites, but they're separate websites, but they cooperate with Family Search. And these two websites concentrate on cemeteries and headstones. So apparently, Adolphus Moore's headstone is recorded on Billion Graves, and it's also recorded on Find a Grave. So now, if you look over here in this column where it says View, this icon here, which looks like a pedigree chart, means that he's in somebody's family tree, and you can, if you click on this, it will show it to you. This icon, it looks like a piece of paper. If you click on it, it will show you the details, the information, the details of where this information came from. And the icon, it looks like a camera. You can actually see an image of where this information came from. So I'm going to click on record details and show you what this does. So it gives you some detailed information. This information comes from Billion Graves Index. It's a burial. It gives you the place. It gives you the GPS coordinates, the cemetery, the person's name who is buried there, and the birth and death date. Over here, it tells you that there is an image available that you can go look at on billiongraves.com. But let's go back to our list here, because there was an icon, this little camera icon that will show you the image. So let's click on that. And this takes you to the Billion Graves website. You can see right up here. And here's the information for Adolphus Moore. This is where the information came from that showed up in our family search. And here are some photos of his headstone. We can click on this, the photograph, and get hopefully we can get a bigger image. It doesn't want to open though. Let me try this. No, that's not what I want to do. Let me go back. So there's a photo of the headstone. You should be able to click on this and expand it like to full screen. And there's the information on Billion Graves. There's the name of the person who took the photograph. And there's the date when the photograph was taken. So that's Billion Graves. Let's go back to Family Search. And let's go look at the same information in Find a Grave. And again, here are the record details from Find a Grave, and it's pretty much like the other entry. And let's go back and click on the camera icon, and that will take you to the Find a Grave website and show you there. This is Find a Grave. This is a separate website. It's very similar to Billion Graves. They both do the same thing. They document cemeteries and headstones. And here's his headstone, my great-grandfather's headstone. And here's the information about the burial, his date of birth, death, where he was buried. And this gives you information about where the headstone is located, like which row and which plot, where it is actually located in the cemetery, not the GPS coordinates. And this gives you some additional information down here about him. This information was entered by someone else, probably the same person who took the photograph. And you see a photo was added by Joanne. And here's information about additional family members who may be buried in the same cemetery. So this can give you a lot of good information. And we found all this by doing a search on familysearch.org. So that's my grandfather, my great-grandfather. He was only about 50 years old when he passed away. So he did not leave a lot of records. We could look for a marriage record. Let's try looking for a marriage record. Let's say Prince William County. And we'll update our search. Let's see if we can find his marriage record. We got nothing. We got nothing. So there's no marriage records for Adolphus Moore and his wife. So either the record was lost or they got married in a different county. That's a possibility. But I just wanted to show you how the search works and how these icons work. Let's go and look at Adolphus Moore. He's in somebody else's family tree. And if we click on this, it will take us to that person's family tree and give you the information from their tree. And if we actually click on this little icon here, it will actually display it. Okay, there he is there in this person's family tree, which happens to be my family tree, actually. So that's how he appears. Oops, sorry. That's how he appears in my family tree on familysearch.org. And we're going to talk about these family trees in just a few minutes. All right, let's go back here. So that's how the search works. You can search on images. I've never actually tried this, but you can search on images. You can explore historical images. You can search image groups. It says here, why can't I search on a name? You can search on a place, and it will come back with photographs from that place, but not photographs of individuals. So let's go back. We can search on other people's family trees. We can search people in someone else's family tree that they have put online. We can do that. We can search genealogies. If there's a published genealogy where your ancestor might appear in, you can search those. This is basically the same search screen, first name, last name, and any other information you have. Down at the bottom, it explains what are genealogies and where the different sites that this will search for genealogies. And you can search the Family History Catalog, Family History Center in Salt Lake City Library. You can search their catalog. You can search for a place. You can search for surnames, book titles, the author's name, subjects, keywords, and it will come back and give you a list of what they have in their library that matches your what you entered for your search. You can also search books. This is the Family Search Digital Library. You can search for your ancestor who might be mentioned in a digital book on the Family Search website. And this tells you where some of the information comes from. A lot of libraries cooperate in this. And lastly, the wiki. Let me spend a few minutes telling you about this because this is really a very good research tool that will help you. You may be familiar with wikis already. If you've ever used Wikipedia to look up things, that's a wiki. It's a wiki for encyclopedias for that type of information. This is a research wiki. It's a genealogy resource guide that will help you learn about research in particular states, counties, countries, whatever you might want to know. And over here on the left-hand side of the screen, you've got some options here for using the wiki. It explains about the wiki. You can do a guided, over here, you can do a guided research that says will help you find the best databases for the locations that you've selected. So let's just, we'll select North America, and then it wants us to narrow it down to, let's do the United States. Wow. And then you can narrow it down to Virginia even. Okay, so this takes us to a wiki page for Virginia genealogy. And this gives you all the information you need about the state of Virginia, the counties, a map of the counties, what you need to know to do research in those counties or in the state of Virginia. There's just a wealth of information here. You can view this, you can think of this as an encyclopedia for genealogy research, a specific encyclopedia for genealogy research. And this that gives you the colonial parishes, additional resources that you can check out. It's just like Wikipedia. It's laid out the same way. So for instance, if you're new to Virginia, you know nothing, you can do a guided research here. Here's a step-by-step Virginia research from 1880 to the present. How to find birth records, how to find marriage records, how to find death records. strategies for research. In other words, plan your research, how you're going to find things. Here are some research tools like county boundary changes. Here's a list of Virginia archives and libraries, and just all kinds of information. On the right here, you can look at different record types like obituaries, cemeteries, census records, court records, probate records, and then here's some background information on Virginia, church history, maps, migration. It even gives you cultural groups in Virginia, local research resources, archives and libraries, local genealogy societies. So it's just a wealth of information. I would, if you're new to researching in a particular state or county, I heartily recommend you go to this wiki on familysearch.org and learn about the county or state that you're going to research in. It will give you a lot of information to get you started, and it's just very, very valuable. All right, that's the research wiki. We could spend the whole class on the wiki by itself, but we really don't have time today. But let's briefly look at some of the other menus here on Family Search. Here's a memory menu item. This is for, let's do overview and see, where you can share your memories. And that might be a slideshow, it might be a picture album. If you want to post things on familysearch.org, your memories, then this is where you would do that. And gallery will show you, let's see what it shows us. It will show you what photographs or documents you have uploaded to familysearch.org. And I uploaded, this is a photo of my maternal grandparents. That's probably a wedding photo or soon afterwards, I'm not sure. But you can click on this to expand it, I think. Yeah, here we go. And you can highlight the faces and identify the people in the photo. So I think that's pretty cool. And so that was a gallery. So you can think of this as a photo gallery. You can also share memories about particular people. And this gives you kind of a gallery view of information about people that you've uploaded probably from your family tree. And find, you can do a find, you can do a search just within gallery photos or people, those screens that we just looked at. You can do a search just on those screens that we just looked at. So that's memories, where you can upload your memories. Those memories may be photographs. They could be documents like birth certificates and things like that that you have. Here's the indexing menu. Let's look at that briefly. Look at the overview page. And the indexing menu, familysearch.org, uses a lot of volunteers to index their records. And indexing a record means that they will give you a digital image of a record and you transcribe the information from it into an index. And they need lots of volunteers to do this. And if you want to volunteer to do this, here's where you would sign up for that. And you can find a project that has already been established that you might want to join to index those records. So, and you can take a guided tour here to find out what it's all about. You can get help for indexing activities. So if you want to do that, here's where you can sign up for that. There is web indexing. Let's take a quick look at that. Here's where they will, familysearch.org will give you the the digital images that they want you to transcribe. Here's where they will appear. And here's where you can locate a project that's already been established, that's ongoing. You can look by country, or you can look by projects. You see here, somebody is indexing civil registration records from Venezuela. Or here's, let's see, here's Hertfordshire County in England. Someone is indexing the marriage records from that county. So you can see these projects are from all over the world, and you can volunteer for any of them, and it's free. They just need your time as a volunteer. Here's where you can get indexing help if you get bogged down with it. Okay, activities. Let's look at the activities menu real quickly. Here, here's the all activities page. This is just simply a list of all of the activities you can get involved in on familysearch.org. You can see there's all kinds of activities here that they sponsor. World War II service records, ancestors' headstones, pioneer ancestors, World War I service records, famous relatives. Do you have some famous relatives? We might all do, but that's where you can get some information about those activities. So let's go back. One of the activities here is where am I from? And based on the information in your family tree, they will put the information in this map. And you can, if you just double click, you can zoom in on a particular location. And you can see as I zoom in, it starts to separating the numbers. So from my family tree, there are 73 people who are from the same area where I live in Virginia Beach here. There are 4 from Norfolk, 2 in Chesapeake, and here are some family members who originally came from North Carolina. That's all based on what's in my family tree. So this is a kind of interesting if you want to check this out. And it works not only in the United States, but anywhere in the world. I don't think, see, I have some people from England where they're from. And here's somebody from Scotland. So that's an interesting thing that you can get involved in on the activities menu. Here's all about me. It's based on the date that you were born and what was going on at that time. You can find out the meaning of your name and the origin, how popular your name is, how much was a first-class stamp when you were born, what was the popular song of the year you were born, who won the World Series, all kinds of information here if you want to find out what was going on when you were born. And it just keeps going and going. How much was a gallon of gas when you were born? Now that would be interesting to find out, who was president of the United States. So that's kind of interesting information. Compare a face. You can find out which ancestors you look the most like. And I've never actually tried this. Let me click this real quick and see what we get. It wants you to upload a photo is what it wants. It wants you to upload a photo, which I assume will go in this square here. And then based on that photo, it will search photos of your other photos of your ancestors to see who you look like. And you might be interested in doing that. Record My Story is where you can actually narrate a story about yourself, your life, your friends, your family. You can actually write a story and tell all about your family and your ancestors, which might be a pretty neat thing to do. Here's a picture of my heritage. Now this, based on last name, here's where your last name is found in the family search tree. So based on my name, Moore, they are telling me that it's 44% American, 12% English, 12% Welsh, and 2% Irish, and a few other scattered ones in here. So that's something you might want to look into. That's interesting. In-home activities, things you can do at home. You can keep a journal. You can gather and document your photos. All kinds of information that you can do at home to enhance your family history and your family story. But so those are all interesting. But let's go back and look at a family tree on familysearch.org. And we're going to look at an overview here. It gives you some information about using your family tree on familysearch.org, how to do it, just some general information there. We go back to the menu, we click on tree, and we will actually see this is a family tree that I uploaded to familysearch.org. I'm somewhere down here at the bottom. There I am. There I am. So I'm the home person on this family tree. So here are my parents, and this would be my dad's side of the family, his siblings and their wives, and then here are my grandparents, their siblings, if there are any, who would be, I guess, my grand uncles and grand aunts. Great grandfather, you remember we looked at Adolphus Moore when we did our search. And here's our great grandparents. And on back, great grandparents. And when you see the little arrow here within the circle, that means there's more information. And if you click on it, it'll take you back even further. So we click on this and it will take you back to, now we're talking about fourth and fifth great grandparents. And you see now we're back in the 1700s. So this is what the family tree looks like if you want to upload one. You can view it this way, or there's another way you can view it. You can view it as a fan chart. And let me show you what that looks like. This is a fan chart. And whoever you clicked on, well, let me go back and show you. Let's go down and pick me. I'm going to click on me. Click on me. Okay. Now we're going to do our fan chart, and you'll see it's going to be based. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, well, I was wrong. So this fan chart is based on Adolphus Moore, and each ring is a generation back. So the first ring here are parents, the second ring, grandparents, the third ring, great-grandparents, the fourth ring, great-great-grandparents, and so on and so on. And this only shows you the mother and father, not the cousins, not the aunts and uncles. So this is a neat way of viewing your family tree. You can look at it by birth country, by sources, by stories, all kinds of different things. You can look at it 5 generations, 6 generations, 7 generations, and you see every time you select it expands the fan chart. All right, let's go back to let's do descendancy. Let's see what that looks like. So we're still based on Adolphus Moore, and this shows, this is called a descendancy chart, which shows the husband, the wife, and then all the children displayed this way. Again, you see the little arrows. That means that Tully Moore, who was my grand uncle, there's some information about him, about his descendants. So if I click on that, it'll expand that. There's his wife. And here's my grandfather here. If I click on this, it will expand his information. So there's his wife and their children. And the bottom one there is my father. He was the youngest. So this is and as you see the arrow, if I click it here, it will show me. There's my mother and there I am. And if I click on that, it will show my wife and any children that we have. So it's a nice way of looking at your family tree. It's very clear how this works. And you can go to however many generations you want. You see, I just expanded it to 4 generations of descendants, and you see how much it and how many additional people it included. But let's go back to our portrait view. This is the portrait view. So let's look at some of these people individually. And since we've been working with Adolphus more, whoops, come back here. There. Since we've been working with Adolphus more, let's work with him. There he is right there. Yeah, you may see some icons here at the bottom. Let's click on the blue icon and let's see what we get. So the blue icon means that FamilySearch.org has some additional records in their database about Adolphus Moore. And when you click on it, it tells you what it is. And you remember before when we did a search, we could not find a marriage? Well, there is a marriage for Adolphus Moore and his wife, Mary Kate Dozier, and there's the record right there. So this is a hint. If you click on this, it will give you information about that record. It's a county marriage record. It gives you the names, the date of the marriage, the event place. This information is wrong, by the way. It was not King and Queen County. It was Princess Anne County where they got married. It gives the age, the race, birth year, birthplace, parents of the bride, parents of the groom, parents of the bride. And if there is an image available, you'll be able to see it here. And then more document information down here. It gives you, if you want to cite this information in a footnote, there's your footnote right there. So that's what the little blue icon means. It's a record hint. Now, what would you call that? Purple, lavender? I'm not good on naming colors, but let's click on this and see what we get. Research suggestions. Okay. These are suggestions for this family that you might want to follow. It's telling me that there's a possibility of a missing child in this marriage. And let's see what happens if I click on that. Possible missing child. And it tells you why. There's a gap of 3 or more years between the birth of one child and the next. So at least that tells you why it thinks there's a missing child. And if we click on that link, it takes us to a full screen that gives you all the information here on Adolphus and why they think it's a missing child or a research suggestion. All right. If we click on Adolphus, we'll see his tree. If we click on Kate, his wife, we can see her tree, her side of the family. And let's go back to Adolphus and click on his image here. This little pop-up box tells you that there are 9 source records that document Adolphus Moore. There are 0 memories and 0 people have collaborated on this information. So we looked at the tree down here. Let's click on person. And this will give us a detailed screen with all the information on Adolphus Moore that's in my family tree. And here's the vital information, birth, death, and marriage information in this block here. Here are the family members, Adolphus Moore, his wife, and their children. Here is his parents, Andrew Moore and Ann Flanagan, and their other children here. You can add a child. If you know that there's a child missing, you can add a child by just clicking that plus button. You can see information on any of these people by just simply clicking on their names, and it will take you to a detailed screen about that person. You can add, if you have a life sketch about this person, you can add that information here. So that would be like a life story or any kind of story that you have about that person. This is all the detailed information about Adolphus Moore and his family and his parents' family, his parents. Here's where you can print a pedigree chart or a portrait pedigree chart. You can print the fan chart. You can print information about the family on the screen. And you can print the sources that were used to build this part of the family tree. All right, so let's go back to where we were. And that's how we got there. Well, all we did was click on Adolphus Moore on his box here. If I had a photo of Adolphus, it would appear here. I don't. I wish I did. But this is basically how the family tree works. There are some options over here that you might want to look at. Let me record hints. If you want to see record hints on the family tree, you can turn that on or off. If you want to see research suggestions here on the family tree, you can turn that on or off. This little icon, the exclamation mark, means that there's a problem with the data. You can turn that on or off too if you want to see it or not see it. And you can turn on or off portraits if you want to see those or not. So let's try turning off portraits. Nothing, because I don't have any portraits. But let's take a look here quickly. There's a data problem here. You see the exclamation mark. Let's see what the problem is. Missing standardized birthplace. So in other words, I don't have let's click on this to see what I have as a birthplace. Here's the vital information. So what it's complaining about is that this birthplace is not standardized. And what family tree tries to do is standardize all the place names. I mean, you don't want to enter Princess Anne County in one place and then in another place enter PA County or Princess Anne CO, the abbreviation of county. You want to be consistent in how you enter the information. So it's telling me that I don't have a consistent, standardized name for where she was born. I'm sure there's a way to correct that. I'm sure they'll give you a way to correct that. So that's what that little exclamation mark icon means right here. All right, we're getting down to the end here. What else can I tell you? You can zoom in or zoom out by using these plus and minus buttons. You can click and hold and drag the screen anywhere you want it. Let's see what this does. Oh, that gets rid of the menus up here. And let's see what this does. It centers. We had selected Adolphus Moore, and it centers the screen based on him, where he is in the family tree. This is your home person. You can designate a home person, and in this family tree, it's me. So when you click on home, it'll take you immediately to the home person in this family tree. So you can look at persons from the family tree, recent people you've viewed recently in the family tree. You can find someone specifically in the family tree. You can follow people in the family tree, and that will let you know when anyone makes a change to it. And my contributions will give you like an audit trail of what changes you've made to this family tree. So we're at the end of our hour here today. I hope I've given you a lot of good information about FamilySearch.org. And remember, all of this is free. This is all free. You can upload your family tree to Family Search, but I need to mention that when you upload your family tree, everybody else on FamilySearch.org can see it. There is no way to make your family tree private. So if somebody else on FamilySearch.org has information about someone in your family tree, there's nothing to stop them from adding that information or changing information that you uploaded. So just bear that in mind. But I think you'll have a lot of fun with FamilySearch.org. I certainly have, and it's really hard to believe that all this is free for anyone just by signing up for a free account. So next week, fold3.com, that will be the last of our classes on genealogy on the internet. And fold3.com, as I mentioned before, specializes in military records. And that should be interesting. So I hope you're there next week, and I will see you then.